Can you see my screen okay, Erica? Awesome.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so Microsoft Teams voice, and if you all wouldn't mind muting just so I don't have an echo. All right, perfect. Oh, maybe see a few others. I'll mute here myself. All right, we should be good. Okay, so Microsoft Teams Voice is a cloud-based phone system. So it's an addition onto the Microsoft Teams application they are already used to using for chat features. It's just an extra layer of communication. The great thing about Microsoft Teams Voice being a cloud-based application is you can access it from anywhere. So if you have the Microsoft Teams app on your cell phone, you can actually take calls and make calls from there. Mainly you'll be using your desktop to make calls and take calls, which is awesome. And then your admin staff in particular are going to have the physical desk phones where they can also use Teams voice application too. So it's just a great mobile phone system that really you can access from anywhere. All right, so the rollout plan for Dover and Portsmouth Islington. I still hear my echo here. Let me make sure everyone's muted. There we go. So the rollout plan for Dover and Portsmouth Islington, our TSS engineer, Eric, will be on site to set up phones and headsets for admin staff, really nothing for providers, on 7/7 at Dover and Islington. If you do see Eric running around and you have some questions about Microsoft Teams, though, feel free to grab him and ask him any questions that you have. Both the Teams voice licensing and your phone numbers will be assigned before tomorrow. So it should be by the end of the day today so that Eric can make sure he tests everything when he gets things set up. And again, like I said, if you have questions, feel free to grab them and he'd be happy to answer. There will be a new call flow for Dover and Islington. So that's being built and it'll be applied and effective on 7/15 before office hours. Eric's going to be providing on-site support on 7/15. So again, he'll be there for any questions you have about Microsoft Teams on 7/15 as well. And then on 7/16, any remote support that's needed, Eric will be there to provide that. Or I'm sorry, not Eric won't be there, but you can call into the Fit Help Desk if you have any questions regarding Teams, and we'll be able to support remotely. As I mentioned, Teams phone equipment, so admin staff who are really the heavy volume, high call takers, they'll be getting a headset and a desk phone. Clinical staff won't be getting phone equipment unless some of you I know might already have a headset or a desk phone. You can keep that. But you can take advantage of both the desktop and mobile applications that I talked about. And if you do want to use headphones, you can really use any headphones that you have work great with your desktop. All right, so Teams calling overview. This is just an example of how you download the application onto your cell phone if you choose to do so. So you can really think about this like your work phone number, your work phone. So you just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, type in Microsoft Teams, you'll see the icon that you're familiar with, and that's the application that you can download. You'll sign in with your company email address, just like you sign into the application on your desktop, and then you're good to go to start using it. So you'll notice once that licensing and DID is applied to you all, you'll have that calls feature you see on the bottom right here. That'll be active and you can make calls out or take calls directly from your cell phone if you'd like. So this is what most of you will probably be using when in office to take calls and make calls is from your desktop. So this application should already be downloaded on all of your computers. If for some reason Microsoft Teams is not downloaded on your computer, reach out to our help desk and they'd be able to assist you on getting this downloaded, but you should all have this and be familiar with the application itself. So the button we're really going to focus on today is obviously calls. So this is going to become live when you have the licensing and DIDs applied to you. And this can be found on the left-hand side of your Teams application. You'll see these bar for action items here. And it's the fourth one down for calls, phone. Once you click into that calls mode and you have your DID and licensing applied, the first thing that you'll see is the box that says your number. So you can think of this as your work phone number. You're more than welcome to give this out directly to people if you want them to call you directly. That's the number you can give out, and it's not your personal cell phone or anything like that. This is your team's number personal to you. Obviously, you can always give out the office number, and if you don't want patients calling you directly, but if you do have anyone that needs to call you directly, that's the number you'll give out. You'll also see here a couple of actions as well that we'll go through, but just the voicemail, call history, contacts, and speed dial. So they're all pretty self-explanatory like on any other phone system, but we'll make sure to go through those today. So the first thing I want to touch on is voicemail. So if anyone calls that number that I just showed you that said your number and they leave a message, here's where the messages will be left. So it's going to be left in the Microsoft Teams voicemail. You can play all of them from this application, and then it'll also transcribe all the messages. So if the person speaks clearly enough, usually the greeting comes across pretty well in this message here. So if you don't have time to listen to it, you can just quickly read the message and you're good to go. In addition to the voicemails being in your Microsoft Teams application, they'll also be sent to your email directly as well, which is really nice. And the recording itself will attach in that email so you can listen to it along with a transcription in that email as well. So you'll have two places where you can get that, which is great. If you look here and you see the three dots really means action. So you take actions. So you click on the three dots and this drop down box will pop up and it's going to show you all the different things that you can do with this voicemail. You can mark it as unread. So for example, if you listen to it quickly but want to bring attention back to it, it'll bold it out so it knows that you need to take some action on that. Delete the message. You can call back directly the number that called you and left the message. You can add this person to your speed dial, add them to your contacts, or block a number if it's somebody you don't want calling you. The next part here is the call history. So again, pretty self-explanatory. It's like your cell phone or anything you're used to of having that call log or call history. It's going to show you incoming or outgoing calls, the duration of your call, and then the date and time of your call. I believe it holds a call history of at least up to 90 days, so that you all can view that. And if you have to, call somebody back or refer back to a outgoing call that you made to grab a number, that'll all be in your call history. Again, you'll see the three dots, which means action items. If you click on the three dots, a drop down will appear. You can call that number back, add it to speed dial, add it to contacts, or again, block a number if you need to. Contacts. So contacts is like any address book you're used to. Again, I always go back to the iPhone or cell phone. It'll just show your contact list. So you can add your contact manually, which is easy to do. Click add contact, type in their name, the details, phone number. You can add more than one number. So if they have a work number, just like an office number and a cell phone number, you can add both of those into the contact. And then they'll all show up in a straight list here under your contacts. The contacts are also super easy to search. So if you just type the name into the search bar, it'll pop up the contact you want. And then there's a couple ways you can call them directly from the contacts list. You can click the highlighted number. You can click the little phone button to call them. Or again, you can click those action items here. And then if there's more than one number listed, you can pick the number you want to call. And then also all these actions such as edit your contact if you didn't get the name right, remove contact, or block them as well. So the contacts is great to use, for people who are outside of your organization, because you really should already have the contacts for anyone in your organization who has Microsoft Teams. They'll already all be, easily accessible and in there. It's just anybody outside your organization you may want to add. Speed dial. This is something I don't really use very often, but you can definitely use it if you like speed dial. So this is just really adding any important contacts to the list of people that you want to get a hold of quickly, some people that you call frequently. So all you'll have to do is click add speed dial, and it'll ask you to type in a contact name, and then you can add them quickly to your speed dial. So then you'll have the option to either call them. If they're in your organization, you can video conference them and take those two actions quickly there. And then you can also add different groups. So say, for example, I added my client services team here, and then I added my life stance team here of anyone, that I wanted added to my speed dial. So you can break them out into groups if you'd like as well. Again, not a feature I use frequently, but it's there if you need it. All right, so calling out, pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. So if you're on the desktop application, once you click on that calls button, you'll see the dial pad here below. Again, you'll see your number listed out there. All you have to do to call out is type in the number with an area code. You can either type it or actually click on each individual number, and it'll pop it in there. And then you hit the call button. And once you hit the call button, it's going to pop up with this screen, similar to what you all are used to when you have a Microsoft Teams meeting, and it'll say connecting to that person that you dialed out. Once the call is connected, it'll say connected, and you're good to go to speak with that person. So once, when you receive a call, this little box will pop up in the bottom right-hand corner. There will be, your desktop will actually ring, so you'll hear like a phone ringing. And then you either have to accept the call, or if you're not available, decline the call. So purple for accept, red for decline. Once you accept the call, it's going to look similar to when I just showed you calling out, but here's my call connected. And then once my call is connected, it's going to give me all of these different options up here. So if, for example, you are calling out or you received a call and you need to hit some prompts, this little button here is the keypad. It'll pop back up again, and you can hit, any option you need to hit, having that keypad or a code that you maybe need to type in. The next button here is the two little people here. That is actually adding participants to your call. So if you want to make it a 3-way, 4-way call, you click on that and you can add people, and we'll talk about that here in a second as well. And then the third option here is those 3 dots, which again shows the actionable items you can take. So here's where you can put a caller on hold if you just need a minute before you speak with them. You can blind transfer them to someone else. You can consult then transfer, which is the option that I like to use just to give the other person a heads up that you're going to be transferring a call. And they do also have live captions or transcription that you can turn on. Again, something I don't use personally often, but are options if you need them. And then up here, you'll have the mute button and unmute button, just similar to what you're used to with meetings. And then you can always leave the call. When you're ready to hang up, you just hit the red button. So here's just an example of when I hit that transfer option. Again, if you just hit transfer, not the consult then transfer, it is a blind transfer. So all you have to do to transfer a call is, if it's somebody in your organization or somebody you already had it added to your contacts, you just type in their name. And then once you type in their name and click on it, this transfer button will highlight, and you just click transfer, and it'll send that call to that person. If you need to send it to somebody outside your organization to like a direct number, you just have to dial in that 10-digit number, and you can transfer it directly to another organization or whoever you need to transfer it to that's outside of your organization. Consult then transfer works very similarly. The only option you will notice that's different is the consult part. So if you see down here, once I typed in the person's name that I want to consult then transfer, you'll see an option for chat or a Teams audio call. So I can choose to call them, and once I call them, it'll put the caller on hold and I can speak with them to say, hey, so-and-so, are you available to take this call? Okay, great. I'm going to transfer them. And then you can transfer them. You can actually do, if they're in your organization, you can chat them as well if you don't want to call them. So you can hit the chat button and say, hey, I have so-and-so on the line. Are you available to take this call? And then that's as good as a consult. And then you can go ahead and transfer them over if they're available. If they're not, you can always pick up the call, back up on the caller and just ask them to leave a message or whatever you want to do there. Inviting other participants. So like I said, that person icon is where you will invite other participants. So when you click on that, this participants box will pop up. Again, you can invite someone in your organization or a contact you have. So you just type in their name, or you can invite outside people to the call as well. You just have to dial their 10-digit extension. You can invite multiple people to this call. More than just 3 if you want to. It's very similar to a Teams meeting, like I had said before. But once they answer, it'll pop up like this, that they're connected. And you'll actually also have the opportunity to mute somebody if there's a lot of background noise, just like in a meeting. Or, mute all participants if there's only one singular person going to be talking, that kind of thing. But they will all show up as connected. If for some reason they can't answer the call, it'll just show trying to connect, and then that person will just drop off if they were unavailable. So you'll know that, but it won't just disconnect the call itself. So pretty easy there to add other participants. And everything I'm showing you here is also available on the mobile application too. It has a slightly different view, but really not much, but you can do all of the same things. All right, so really for the purpose of what you all are going to be using Teams calling for, that's kind of the end of the presentation. I do have a video that Erica can send out to you all, just pretty much a quick overview of what we already talked about. But is there any questions from any of you?
I have several questions.
Sure.
Funny, there's an echo. We don't have to dial *82 to our number shows up automatically. It's not blocked.
No, your number shouldn't be blocked anywhere.
And does it say our name for caller ID when we're calling into somebody?
So I believe how we are going to set up caller ID is it's actually going to say LifeStance and then the main office phone number. So that way y'all don't have to get direct dials back to you.
Okay, great. That's one question. Now, when I'm on vacation, ideally, I don't want to come back to 500 voicemails. Is there a way to just have my message play and they can't leave a voicemail for me, that they just hear that I'm not in the office?
So what you can do, and let me pop this up real quick here. I'm not sure if there's a way that you can just say no voicemails, but you can forward calls to say like the direct office number, so that they would be the ones essentially getting your voicemails.
Okay.
So I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Let me pop it up in my Teams. So if I go ahead and go to my icon here and I click on Manage Account and go to Calls, if I'm on vacation, I can say forward my calls to a new number, and you can type in your office phone number. So that way those calls are being forwarded there and you won't get any messages.
Okay. If somebody calls into the office, can they just ask directly to be transferred to my number, or do they have to go through the front desk?
So I believe how we set it up, what the call flow is going to say is I believe a dial by name directory for clinicians specifically. So if they dial your name, then they should be able to get to you, or they can click an option for, I think it's other questions, and then that would have to go through the front desk to get transferred. So it's however the patient wants to do it.
So if they transfer to me, but I'm on vacation and I have it to forward my calls, it'll go right back to the front desk.
Yes, so it'll go to that main number and play that original greeting.
Okay.
And then yes, it would then go back to the front desk. So I'm
Okay.
assuming they would know that you're out of office and maybe they could tell the patient, but yes.
And that thing that says configure voicemail, is that to leave your message? That's where you record it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. So if you want to, customize your personal greeting, you go to the same settings, calls, configure voicemail, and then click record a greeting. Oh geez, now I'm recording my greeting. I didn't want to do that. But you click record a greeting, and then it'll prompt you to record it, and you'll be set and good to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Have another question or two. So somebody calls in, when I'm on my office, I never want my phone to ring. I want it to go always to voicemail. So is there a way to set that up?
Yeah, so go back here. So you just say forward my calls to voicemail.
Okay, and then it will not ring.
And then it should not ring. It should go directly to your voicemail. Yep.
Okay, good. That's easy. Another feature of the phones we have right now, which is really nice, is when somebody calls in and they're speaking very slowly, you can make it go much faster. Do you have a way of doing that on this?
Yeah. So do you mean like for voicemails?
Yeah, you're listening to the voicemail, but you want them to talk faster.
Yeah. So if I go to a voicemail, you see this 1 times, you can
Yeah.
speed it up
Okay.
to up to 2 times the amount.
Okay, good. That's good. And the last question I have is, are you part of the FIT team or no?
I am.
Okay. So I told Erica already today, my computer is really slow. It's having a lot of problems, and I'm very concerned that putting my phone on this computer as well, it's not even going to function, because sometimes I'm just watching it spin. And if my phone is spinning, I will have no access to the phone or anything else. And I have a big concern that my computer is just not adequate for everything I'm asking it to do.
Sure. I can let me reach out to our engine. So I'll put in a ticket for you and reach out to our
We've already got a ticket out, Natalie.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
Yeah, I told Eric already, but I have a big concern. I'm just adding one more thing to this computer that already can't handle what we're asking it to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, if Erica, if you put in a ticket, if you want to email me that number, maybe you already did. I can't remember, but I can at least touch base with Eric and see if he recommends a replacement, and then we can get you a replacement.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, Richard. Thank you for asking like most of the questions that I had, but in terms of adding contacts, is it okay for us to add clients as contacts or not?
I would say that's up to your organization. I think it would be okay.
Erica, what do you think? Like, let's say I put the person's first name and last initial just so that I don't have to dial it in every time I want to call them.
I'll verify that with Rebecca.
Okay.
It's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I will verify with Rebecca and let everybody know.
Okay.
Natalie, I had another question as far as for the providers, if they're receiving a phone call from their client and they want to transfer it to the call list that we have set up for intake or for the reception, how do they transfer it to that team mailbox?
Good question. So I believe that since we have call queue set up, whatever those queue names are, they should be able to hit transfer and then type in the queue name, which we can send you, and then it should just transfer to that queue. ring all those people at the same time, and if they don't answer, it'll go to voicemail. But let me double check, because I know one of our other divisions was asking about this and they were running into some troubles, but I think it was just because they were on a different configuration. So I just want to make sure, and then I'll give you a definitive answer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
I had a question.
Sure.
So this, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, well, I'll ask Erica.
We can hear you, Mary Lou. Go ahead and talk.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
So this goes online, like this number or new number we got is activated the 15th, July 15th.
Yes, correct. It should be activated July 15th. You may see it pop up before then, but obviously nobody has your number, so they wouldn't be calling it. But yes, this goes into action July 15th.
Yeah, because I got the number and everything. So, and I put the app on my phone, but it won't accept it yet. It says they didn't hear me. But I got the app.
Awesome.
We're ready.
Once it's accepted and you're able to log in, you just log in with your company email.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything should be live on the 15th.
Okay.
And you should see that number pop up and all that good stuff.
Okay.
And everybody should have handouts. I printed them and put them in mailboxes for those of you in Portsmouth. I mailed them to Derek, so he should have distributed those out. There were a couple that I didn't print them out for you guys because I assumed you probably wouldn't look at the printouts, but I did send them out as a PDF as well as a colored printout. And that'll kind of guide you through a lot of what Natalie was showing us today.
Yes.
I do have one more question. I have the screen open on my other computer, and I'm just looking at, like, one of the contacts is the answering service, and I have their email in. I don't have their phone. And if I want to click on the three dots to add their phone, that's grayed out. It doesn't even give me the option. How do I add that in?
So you're saying when like you already have an existing contact in your contacts?
Yes, from the email side, yeah.
Yeah. It pulled his contact from his email, and it doesn't have the telephone number in there. It just has the email address. So would I be correct in assuming, Natalie, that he would want to go to his Outlook contacts and he could update it from there?
You could probably update it from there, but you should be able to also update it from Microsoft Teams. So I'll put that question into our team, but I don't know if it has something to do with because it's coming from your Outlook, but I'll put that question in and have them reach out to you.
Okay.
Dan, did you have a question? Oh, hang on, you're muted, Dan.
Yeah. Here, I don't think I can unmute him. I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, you're still muted, Dan.
There should be, if you're looking at the desktop application, the mute button's right at the top of the screen. And if you can't unmute, you can always type in the chat too, whatever's easiest.
Well, Dan, if you do have a question, feel free to connect with me.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. We can hear you now, Dan.
Okay, question on the 16th and thereafter, if someone calls me at 749-4462, types in my extension, what do they hear?
So that number will no longer work.
The extension, not the
So they just
749-4462.
Correct.
So what will they actually hear?
They will be directed to the new call flow system with the new greeting that's set up. So they'll have the option to dial you directly through the dial by name directory. Or if they want to get in contact with reception, I think it's like option 4 for other questions, they can ask for you and then reception can transfer them directly to you through Teams.
Okay, okay. Good.
Can I ask another question about that vacation thing that I asked you about?
Sure.
So if I forward my call back to the main number, which I can do, I can't also leave a message saying I'm on vacation. They just will get right back to the main number, right?
They will just get back to the main number if you forward it that way. If you want to have like an out of office greeting, the problem is, I know you said you don't want them to be able to leave a message.
Yeah.
So that's the only issue. They would be able to leave a message if you had like an out of office greeting.
Yeah, I mean, historically, I've asked people not to leave messages, and most people listen, but some people don't. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I say you can ask them politely. I just don't know if they'll listen or not. So.
Okay.
Oops. Laura, did you have a question?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Twofold. I set up Google Voice on my computer at home. So I had an interim phone number for people to call.
Okay.
And will this interfere with that at all while I transition people to the new number?
So nothing should interfere. You would just have to give people your new number.
Yep. And I know I got an email with my new number on it, but I've not been able to locate that email.
So it actually should be, if you look in your Teams application.
And I did, and it's not showing up there where you had pointed out that the number was.
Cool. Okay. It just might not be activated yet.
Okay.
But I'll double check on that to make sure everyone's is.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all for your time. Absolutely. I'll get answers to the questions that I didn't have answers to for you all. And then, yeah, I think everything's going to go really smoothly on 7/15. But if you do need anything, like I said, Eric will be on site support that same day on 7/15. But please call the help desk if you have any questions, and they should be able to assist you.
Yep, and I would like to just add to that, if anybody wants to go ahead and start playing around with it in the interim, feel free to. Derek is on site in Portsmouth, so he can help anybody at Islington, and then I'm on site here in Dover. So if anybody needs assistance, if we want to work out any kinks and bugs, now is kind of the opportunity to test it out and try it. So feel free to reach out to either myself or Derek if you need any help. Or of course, Fit is also there that can assist as well, either via email or through a phone call.
Definitely. All right. Well, you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey,
Bye.
bye-bye.